Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner for my Slow Stitch Saturday. In today's video, I thought I would continue to work on my still life project. I do want to show you a couple of things I added since my last video. I added a little bit more fabric here, and then over here I added some yo-yos to make them look like they were laying on the desk. And I think I told you that I had decided not to use the plastic thing that I had made to go over the washi tape. If you recall, this was it. And yes, it does look like drawers, but I just don't like the plastic. It just doesn't seem like it's going to look nice. So I've gone back to the tulle. Even though it kind of mutes the colors, I like that it is fabric. So I'm going to decide how I need to put this down. And then if you recall, I have these buttons. Let me pull them out. I have 4 of them to make them look like drawers. So what I think I'm going to do first is sew down the top part. And what I'm going to do is tuck it under so that it's kind of hidden. And unfortunately, I had sewn this down. It's not completely sewn down there. I suppose I could take that off. I think I'm going to do that. Even though I've sewn it down, I'm going to pull the thread away from here. And then that way I will be able to tuck it under. Let's see if I can grab a hold of it and pull it out. Yeah, I want to be able to, yeah, there we go. I want to be able to tuck that tulle underneath there so it looks nice and neat. I will just have to re-sew this down. I hope everyone is doing good. I'm watching my grandkids. I think I've told you that in the last video, but it's so easy because they do their own thing. My granddaughter Olivia, she's actually at work. My son-in-law, I may have told you, he is the CEO of a skilled nursing facility, and actually a very high-end one. There is a waiting list to be able to get into that facility because it has such high marks. And so she works there a little bit here and there to just kind of pull in some money. Yeah, see, I think if I do that like that, I tuck that under, that will be good. And then I'll be able to trim it. So let me thread a needle and we will start stitching down. Judson, the 12-year-old, is actually running around neighborhoods with a couple of friends, and they are washing cars to earn some money. And they washed my car yesterday. It was a good price, and they did a really good job. And then as a surprise, I had them wash Olivia's car, the granddaughter. So she had a nice clean car. So, yeah. Oh, and then I have started also thread painting Fiona. And I will show you that in a little bit. But let's get this tacked down. Okay, so I want to make sure I've got enough room on both sides. Probably what I should do is pin it so I don't pull too much. So I need to pin over here and then put a pin over here. So I've got a lip on both sides. Okay. And then, because I'm going to start at the top, I need to flip it around so it's easier for me to see. Okay, so what we're going to do is this side, for some reason, it was a little bit, I couldn't see the thread to trim this. So, and what I can also do is cut it back. So let's just tack this tulle down. And then after I get it tacked down, then I will undo these needles and pull it straight. So let's see, we've got that. I don't know, maybe I didn't tack this down right. Maybe I didn't pin it right. Let's see. So I have that like that. Got some there, and I've got some there. Well, I'm glad I'm double checking this. I had that pinned to the other side. Oh, okay. Let's try again here. I can't believe that after all that work I did on those on that plastic cover, that I'm not going to use it. But like I said, I kept thinking, plastic. This is all fabric. Why am I putting plastic? Okay, we're good there. And I think I'm going to need to trim this down a little bit and see. Whatever reason, now this is not correct. Okay. There, it's there. Okay. I hope I can get this looking good. The other thing that's going to be a trial is putting those buttons on there. Okay, sister, you do have a needle threader laying right by you. You could use it, but of course that takes time. Okay, let's trim this down so there isn't quite so much. So yesterday, I'm watching the grandkids, and it's so funny. They all had things going on yesterday. So Gavin was at football practice. Olivia was at a swim party, and Judson was at the mall with friends. So I texted my daughter. I said, well, I'm actually at the house alone. I'm babysitting the dog because the kids are all gone doing stuff. So, yeah, it was funny. So what I'm doing is just kind of a whip stitch around to try to tack this tulle down. So it's underneath. The drawers of the washi tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off and continue just tacking this down, and then I will be back with you guys. So I finished tacking the top part down, and I have these buttons that I took off the plastic, and I'm going to put 3 down each side. So I think my first one is going to go right here. And this is going to be a little bit finicky, I think, to do, but let's see what happens. I need to come up. And the other thing is I want them to be centered, so it's going to be a challenge. So, well, the thing of it is, I want it over here to the left. I'm wondering, let's see. Before I start just nilly-willy sewing, I'm going to take a marker. Let's see, I have my flexor pin here. And let's bring in a ruler and mark where I want these buttons to be. And let's see. Let me bring in my Tim Holtz ruler, which is a centering ruler. And so I want the button to be here. So this is one set of drawers, and this is the other set. So let's see here. So these centering rulers are just a little bit, so that's at 3 and that's at 3. I think that's about right where it needs to go. and I want it to be there. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to have to bring in a black pen. I think it will be covered up, so it's probably going to be okay. Right there is where I need it to be. Okay. And then let's go down here. Probably about there. Let me see how tall this is so I can figure out how much spacing I want. So let's say it's about 5 inches. And so I need it to be 1.6 inches in between. So ooh, that's going to be a little bit finicky. So maybe about there. Let's just see what happens. And then like about there. Let's see what this looks like if I put the buttons there. I can already tell, well, it might be okay. They may not be exactly, but I think that's going to be okay. It's going to be very finicky to do it. Okay, so the center here on this one. Now this one's a little bit shorter. And so my first button there and there. I think that's about right. There. And then the next one. And then the next one. Yeah, they may be okay, but they may not. Yeah. All right, all we can do is try. Okay, let's pull those two off. Got my thread here. And so at least I have a hole now, or a marking where I need it to go. Yeah, I can tell already, these are not going to be even. Where's my... I'm wondering if I go down this way, if I will be able to hide the knot. It's easier to see where it needs to go. Oh, that is thick. Yeah, I might be able to hide the knot there. Okay, good. So I just got a message from my daughter who's on the ship in Tahiti, sailing around Tahiti, and my granddaughter's contact lenses came in, so now I have to go pick those up for her. She's been waiting 3 weeks for these contact lenses, and they finally came in, and they closed today at 3 o'clock. So if I don't go pick them up for her today, then she has to wait till Monday. So I'm going to go do that. This is one thing, and I know you guys that are grandparents are probably exactly the same way. I always tell my grandkids whenever they ask for anything, I always say, I'd do anything for you, and I would. Absolutely anything they want, I would do for them. You know what I was just thinking? I wonder, because I can just tell already, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm wondering if I took a strip of fabric and sewed the buttons down. Let's just take a small piece of fabric, and if I sewed the buttons on the fabric, if that would make it easier, and then sewed this on. Well, here I'm getting sidetracked, and I don't even know if this is going to work. Let's just stick with the plan thus far. But if they're, you know me, and me needing things to be symmetrical, if they don't look symmetrical, then I'm going to take the buttons off, because I don't want them to look like they're all cockeyed. Okay, well, let's bring the next one in. Yeah, this is, you guys, this is so crazy how this is. How am I going to find? Okay, I'm going to tie this off, because it's just too hard to find it otherwise. And if it doesn't work, then I'll go to plan B and sew them on the fabric so that they're even. I'll be able to tell by the second one whether or not they're working out. It's going to also help this tulle lay down. Okay, so the next one's going to go here. Wish me luck, guys. Ouch! I stabbed myself. Yeah, it's just... You don't know where you're coming up. It's way off kilter. Okay, that's about right. And it's so thick too. Okay, let's put another one in and we'll just see if I can get them to where they look about the right way lined up. Well, not horrible. Not too bad. And you know what? I only have to do a couple of stitches because it's not like these are going to be worn. And you have to have the buttons on really stable. Well, not horrible. We'll go with that. I'm going to grab my pair of hemostats. That'll help me pull this through. Now I want this one. So now I'm going to come this way and pull it the other way so it's a little bit more to the right. You hear me sighing? See, that's not perfectly straight. I don't like that. Yeah, that's off. Okay, that's not working, guys. That's not going to work for me. My OCD won't allow it. So the next thing is plan B, where I'm going to sew these on some kind of a fabric piece so that they're even. Pull that out there. Get rid of all of this. Come on. And then this batting is coming up, and oh. Trim that off. Okay, now. All right, we got to go to plan B. I'm going to turn the camera off and work on that. And I'll be back with you guys with the solution. So I did end up sewing the buttons onto this strip of fabric. But again, I think it's because they're shank buttons. They don't lay flat. So I don't like that idea. That's not the solution. The next thing I've thought about doing is sewing on flat buttons to make the drawer pulls, but I don't think they look as good as these. These are perfect. I've got to just mull over this some more, but the fabric idea did not work out. I've got to figure out something, because I think these look like drawer pulls, and maybe I just need to sew them on, and if they're not even, they're not even. I don't know. Let's try something else. Let's just trim this down. Well, and I put my string across, so they're going to fall off now. That's not working. Oh, let's see. Well, you guys, I'm just going to mull over this a little bit more and just work on it. That's what you have to do with these kinds of projects. Is if you are sewing something, it doesn't look quite right, you don't like the way it looks, then you scrap it and you start over, because like I said, this is going to hang in my craft room. I'm going to look at this every single day, and unless it's perfect to my eye, I'm not going to be happy. So I just have to just keep plugging along. We'll see. So it's the next day, and I did finish with the drawers, and I'm very pleased with how they turned out. I ended up having to use these buttons, and I'll tell you why. Remember I told you I had 6 of these buttons? Well, I did, until Miss Fiona got a hold of one and chewed it up. She just completely destroyed it. So I had to go with these buttons, but I think they look okay. I like the way it's turned out. Now let me show you. I am starting to work on that sweet dog and the thread painting. I'm using several different colors of a type of a crew thread. It's DMC. I have that one. I'm using this color. She's got some gray in her. I'm using a little bit of gray, another darker color. So when you thread paint, what you're going to do is lots of small stitches. Now I need to work a little bit in this area because I don't like how it looks like such a distinct line. Do you see how here, now let me just put this needle in here so I don't lose it. Do you see how in here, you can just see how they kind of blended together? I've already done her little eyes, some shading around there. Here's some of the darker colors again with some thread that I had left over. But this needs to be worked on a little bit. And so with thread painting, it's just very tedious and repetitive stitching. So it's good stitching for sitting in front of the TV. And it's just back and forth, lots of little stitches. This is going to take like a hot minute to complete. And then I think I told you what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim around it. Let me just set this off to the side. I'm going to trim around it and get rid of this stuff here. I do like this. However, that piece there, which was a part of a rolling cart, I don't like that. So I'm going to have to get rid of that. So, but in a lot of the areas that she lays underneath my desk, there is a beach towel that looks like it's quilted. So I'm going to cut her out all the way around it, and then I'm going to quilt a beach towel here, and I'm going to lay her there. So that's the plan. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching this video of my Slow Stitch Saturday, and I will see you on Monday for journal making pages. Thanks, and bye-bye.